From the inspiration behind Moby Dick to the legendary leviathan, a prehistoric whale with a deadly past, here are 10 of the strangest and most miraculous whales you've probably never heard of. Number 10. Moby Dick's inspiration. The most famous whale of all time is definitely Moby Dick. But did you know that the infamous whale written about in Herman Melville's novel is based on a real creature? The original novel was published in 1851 and is still considered a classic, but it was actually based on a whale named Moby Dick, who had been wildly famous in the 1800s. Moby Dick was named after an island in Chile, after locals spotted what they believed to be the largest and most powerful sperm whale in history. Moby Dick allegedly destroyed at least 20 whaling vessels and escaped death from over 80 ships set on destroying him. This rogue whale was the inspiration for the famous novel, as it was the scourge of the Pacific Ocean in its day. There was even a book written about him in 1839 titled Moby Dick, and that ended up being a huge inspiration for Herman Melville, who transformed the real story of Moby Dick into a tale that would survive the centuries. But what a lot of people don't know is that the book itself did not make any money during Melville's lifetime. According to Smithsonian Magazine, it wasn't until much later, when the whaling industry had destroyed huge parts of the ocean and the public began to fight back against the industry, that the book took off and became a cultural success story. Number 9. Pilot whales. When people think of whales, they often think of blue whales, humpback whales, and maybe even killer whales. And of course, like we've already discussed, people immediately think about Moby Dick. But there are in fact a lot of very unique whales roaming around in the oceans of our world that almost nobody knows about. One such animal is the pilot whale, which is actually a type of dolphin, but it's extremely large, growing to be over 20 feet long. The pilot whale is part of the blackfish group, which also includes killer whales, the biggest dolphins of them all. What's really remarkable is that humans and pilot whales have a few features in common. Humans and pilot whales experience menopause, with female whales losing their fertility before they ever reach old age. There are not many other species on Earth that go through these same changes. According to scientists, the similarities have a lot to do with our family units. In terms of genetics, it's generally considered better for older women and for older female pilot whales to spend time caring for their grandchildren rather than making more children of their own. One of the stranger things with pilot whales is that for some reason, they often experience mass strandings, which scientists have yet to explain. Nobody knows why it happens, but sometimes massive groups of pilot whales become stuck on shore and die. And apparently, it's been happening since the time of the ancient Greeks. And now for number 8. But first, if you're new to the channel, welcome! Give this video a like and hit that subscribe button for more videos like these. Number 8. The loneliest whale in the world. Back in the early 90s, a mysterious whale was being tracked throughout the Pacific Ocean. Scientists believed it was the loneliest whale in the world. This is because it was constantly singing. Some people claimed that it was wandering across the Pacific Ocean crying out for a companion that never came. Basically, it was the most desperate bachelor or bachelorette in the ocean. Scientists don't know if it was a male or a female. They don't even know what species it was. According to the BBC, this curious whale is still one of the animal kingdom's greatest mysteries. However, scientists are now saying that maybe they were wrong about the loneliness of the whale. It might not have been isolated. It may have been singing its song simply as a way to impress members of the opposite sex. But what's so unique about this whale's song? Well, it all started in 1989 when submarines began to pick out some very strange signals. The signals were similar to blue whale calls, but there was a massive difference in frequency. Blue whales usually sing between 10 and 40 Hz, but this whale was singing at a frequency of 52 Hz. Unfortunately, this magnificent whale passed away after its last known recording in 2004, estimated to be roughly 78 years old. To this day, nobody knows why the whale's call was so unique or what it was singing about. Number 7. Bowhead whales. Bowhead whales are another fascinating species of whale that not many people are aware of. This fantastic creature has a skull that takes up at least 1/3 of its body. It's also one of the fattest whales in the world, with estimates saying that the whale has the heaviest weight in comparison to its body. But that's not to say the whale is overweight. Most of its bulk comes from extremely thick layers of blubber that help to keep it warm while it wanders through its home in the Arctic waters. You might notice that this particular species seems to look a little grumpy. The way that the bowhead whale's mouth is arched makes it seem like it's frowning all the time, but it's probably in a fine mood. After all, the bowhead whale has special baleen bristles that hang from its upper jaw, which means that all it needs to do to feed is open its mouth, swim through the water, and let crustaceans and other marine invertebrates get trapped inside the bristles. It's like walking into a candy store with your mouth open while people place bits of candy on your tongue. It's perhaps the laziest way any animal on Earth eats, but hey, it's what they do. As for their length, the bowhead whale has bristles inside its mouth that can measure over 10 feet long. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, the bowhead whale grows to be around 60 feet in length and weighing over 100 tons. Number 6. The Omura's whale. The Omura's whale is the most recently discovered large whale species on Earth, and human beings are only now starting to understand their global range and impact on the planet. A researcher from the New England Aquarium in Boston has recently published a scientific paper stating all known sightings of the elusive Omura's whale. We now know that the whale has a huge range, much larger than we previously thought. It turns out these whales are living all throughout our oceans, but somehow without our knowledge. How have they remained undetected for so long, and just what exactly is the Omura's whale? Well, just like the bowhead whale, the Omura's whale is a filter-feeding baleen cetacean with bristles in its mouth that it uses to eat krill and zooplankton. The whale was first discovered by Japanese whalers in the 1970s, but it wasn't until 2003 when DNA evidence examined by researchers determined that the whale is a completely new species that had been previously unknown to science. And yet these whales are even more mysterious than that. In 2011, research teams finally observed a live Omura's whale in the wild. To this day, there is still very little known about this unique species, other than that they are at risk due to global factors and that they clearly don't like human attention. Number 5. The vaquita. It's time to meet the most adorable whale on Earth. It's one of the rarest marine mammals on the planet and is also the most endangered cetacean on the planet. For those who don't know, all dolphins and whales are cetaceans, just like how crabs and lobsters are all crustaceans. In previous years, the Chinese river dolphin was widely recognized as the most endangered cetacean on Earth. However, in 2007, scientists officially declared it extinct after finding no trace of the Chinese river dolphin anywhere in the Yangtze River, where they had thrived for millennia before humans showed up. Now, the vaquita has been marked by the World Wildlife Foundation as the most endangered dolphin on Earth. The vaquita porpoise is small and adorable and easily identifiable thanks to the black markings around its eyes and mouth that kind of make it look like it put on lipstick and eyeliner. But even though these creatures are easy to identify, they certainly aren't easy to be found. As a resident of the northern part of the Gulf of California, there are believed to be less than 200 of them in the area. The species was only recently discovered in 1958, and already they are just a few years from going extinct. They rarely go deeper than 900 feet below the surface of the water and typically swim in shallows, which makes them even more vulnerable from being trapped in nets of fishermen. Number 4. Risso's dolphin. The Risso's dolphin is another beautiful creature that not many people have heard of. They are extremely social and arguably the most beat-up looking dolphins in the world. This is because the Risso's dolphin spends most of its life getting into fights. This type of dolphin fights with squid and other members of its own species, and this causes them to be left riddled with pale white scars. The older the dolphin is, the more scars it has all over its body. Some of the oldest Risso's dolphins look more like beluga whales. What's really unique about this dolphin is that it doesn't have a snout. After the release of the 2010 documentary The Cove, about the Japanese and their annual dolphin hunting season, there was massive backlash and global condemnation, and this is hopefully helping to prevent the destruction of the species. Number 3. Migaloo the whale. When we think about albino animals, what's the first white animal that pops into your head? Did you know that there is a famous albino whale swimming around our oceans? The whale's name is Migaloo, and he is 100% albino, and was first discovered in 1998. Most scientists believe Migaloo is about 30 years old, and after sampling its DNA in 2004, Migaloo was officially recognized as a male. He's been spotted over 50 times by whale watchers from all over the globe, and the Australian government keeps close tabs on him. In fact, Migaloo the albino whale is so important to the country of Australia, and indeed to the world, that he is protected under special government legislation that prohibits vehicles from getting anywhere close to him. Marine vessels are not allowed within 1,500 feet of Migaloo, and aircrafts are not allowed lower than 2,000 feet when flying above Migaloo. But what kind of whale is he? Migaloo is an eastern Australian humpback whale, and he annually migrates about 5,000 miles from his favourite Antarctic feeding grounds to the tropical regions around the Great Barrier Reef, likely to try to get busy with some lady humpback whales. His beautiful albino blubber is what makes him famous. What's really remarkable is that marine mammals can inherit the exact same condition that other creatures on Earth can, in which the body refuses to produce melanin, causing zero pigmentation of the animal. This means that Migaloo has completely white skin and red eyes, just like an albino gorilla or an albino squirrel. Number 2. Commerson's dolphin. Out of all the dolphins we've talked about today, the Commerson's dolphin is definitely one of the coolest. They are a playful species that enjoy riding the waves and swimming upside down. It has a striking black and white pattern, which gives it a remarkable appearance. The male dolphin has an oval-shaped black patch on its belly, and the female has a V-shaped patch on its belly, making them some of the easiest animals to distinguish when it comes to sex. At least, certainly much easier than distinguishing between a male and female octopus. Out of all the dolphin species in the world, the Commerson's is arguably the least fussy. Most dolphins have pretty specialized diets, but these guys don't really care what they eat. They have a big appetite and will eat octopus, squid, shrimp, and even large ocean worms. A single Commerson's dolphin must consume 10% of its daily body weight every day just to stay healthy and active. Number 1. The leviathan. The final whale on our list today is the most intense. I'm talking about the Great Leviathan, properly known as the Leviathan Melville, which has been confirmed as the largest sperm whale ever to roam the Earth. Of course, this great whale is now extinct, but millions of years ago it roamed the oceans feeding on smaller whales. It's an ancient species with teeth dramatically larger than what you would find on any sperm whale today. The most recent and largest fossil was found in the middle of the Peruvian desert, where the species ended up going extinct between 12 and 13 million years ago. According to an article published in the journal Nature, researchers discovered 75% of the animal's skull in the desert, complete with fragments of jaw and some teeth. By pairing the skull length with what scientists know about modern sperm whales, they were able to estimate the Leviathan was roughly 57 feet long. However, it's totally possible that bigger Leviathans could have ruled the seas, we just haven't found any evidence of them yet. Of course, the big deal about the prehistoric Leviathan is that it ate other whales. It used its size and its teeth to rip asunder small baleen whales, likely related to many of the species we've been talking about today. The Leviathan was much smaller than the modern blue whale, which remains the largest animal to have ever lived, but it was far more ferocious and miles more ruthless. Thanks for watching. Which of these whales or dolphins do you think is the most incredible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon for another awesome video.